Life Frew Music, brought to you by Zoomer.com and ZoomerRadio.ca.
Holy moly, what does this guy nut do? He is a member of Rugby Canada's board of directors. Rugby? I give you the one and only Brian Burke, who, as a general manager, did incredible things in the field of hockey. For me personally, being a Toronto Maple Leaf fan, I loved when he worked with the Toronto Maple Leafs. But how many people now know the amazing job he's doing for the Professional Women's Hockey League? Ladies and gentlemen, I give you my friend, my pal, Mr. Grumpy, Brian Burke.
All right, you ready? Let's get the elephant in the room first. Irish Catholic family. 10 a year, something like that.
Well, there's always someone to play with and always someone to fight with, so...
Well, you know what we say, for Ireland or Scotland, if you've nobody to fight with, you fight with your family.
Yeah, exactly. You learn how to eat fast, put it that way.
So where did this all take you? Were in Providence, I guess, right?
I was born in Providence, Rhode Island, but the kids were born all over.
Okay.
So 2 kids were born in St. Louis, or Milwaukee rather, then 2 kids were born in Providence, then 3 in Philly, and the last 3 in Chicago.
Now, is that because the old man was traveling? Was he in...
Sales. He kept getting promoted.
Strict upbringing, Irish Catholic upbringing?
Yep. Had to introduce the vocabulary word every night. Had a reading hour every night after supper.
Seriously?
Just sit and read for an hour. Yep.
What was the combination with brothers and sisters?
6 girls, 4 boys.
And where did you fit in?
I was number 4.
Number 4.
Well, I ran the show.
Both parents were first generation Irish?
3rd generation. My great-grandpa came over from Ireland,
Right.
1861, and he enlisted. As soon as he got off the boat, he enlisted and fought in the Union Army.
Wow. Have you had the chance to follow the heritage and go over there?
Yeah, well, I have. I've gone to Ireland a couple times. My relatives are all gone except a couple on my mom's side.
Right.
So I've kept in touch, not recently. We kept in touch with them for a while.
Right.
But it was Patrick Burke came over. Signed up.
Burke.
Yep.
And so you were all scattered. So how did it work schooling-wise? Like if you're 1 year in Providence, then you're in St. Louis, and then you're... did you go to a whole bunch of different schools?
Went to Catholic schools for a couple of years. And,
but different ones as you...
Chicago, yeah. Well, I was in Chicago from kindergarten through grade 5.
Right.
I moved to Boston for 1 year, then to Minnesota.
Now you yourself, you played the game a wee bit, right?
I didn't start till we moved to Minnesota. I started when I was 13.
Hockey?
Yeah.
Were you any good?
No. No, I worked hard and I was tough.
Well, we know that. We'll get to that. So you played the game for what? For a couple of years? What level did you reach?
Well, I was Bantam House, Midget B, Midget A, high school. So my 5th year of organized hockey was playing high school hockey in Minnesota. Right. No one in my town had ever done that.
Is that right?
Really hard to learn, really hard to get better.
And you go from that to law school?
Well, I played 4 years at Providence College, right, and then 1 year pro. And then I went back to law school.
Oh, you went back to it?
Yeah.
And where did you go to law school?
Harvard.
Oh, Jesus, Murphy. No messing around there. Is a Harvard Law School. That's brilliant. Talk a wee bit about it.
Did you research any of this before we did this?
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. You're telling me.
Yeah, I went to Harvard.
You're going to teach me about...
Lou Lamorello convinced me to apply to law school, to take the LSATs, to take the law boards. I blew them away. Lou made me do it.
All right.
And then he said, if you get into, you do well on this exam, you'll get into Harvard or Yale. And I'm like, well, I don't want to go to law school. And Lou said, you don't understand. It's not a request. So I took the exam, blew it away, got into Harvard.
Brilliant. I was talking this morning with Madeline, Dennis, and we were talking about, our parents, either by choice or just by, the way life dealt the cards to us, about having the hunger. Did you, she was talking about how her parents obviously are a wee bit more than mine. I had no choice than to be hungry and chase after what I'm going after. What were your parents like when it came to that idea of putting $1 in your pocket? You had to do it for yourself, get out there and get a wee job here and there? Or were you a middle-class family and they were able to help? And
Well, my dad was valedictorian of his class in college.
Right.
So it's an educated family.
Right.
Of the 10 kids, 9 have college degrees, 5 have advanced degrees. So it's an educated family. That was all that my mom and dad cared about. They didn't care about sports. It was you had to do well in school.
Right.
So my dad used to take me at the start of the hockey season. He'd take me to the front hall closet and he'd show the space below the coats. He'd say, your skates will fit right there if you don't do well in school. So school came first.
Tell me a wee bit about, because we'll music will make its way into the conversation, but Irish Catholic family, you're all gathered in the house together. Where did music fit in from your parents passed down to you, and what was it like musically around? Were you listening to any in particular? Was it a traditional Irish family musically, or?
Kind of a mix. My mom was big on buying records as we got older, trying to keep pace with us. So, like, I remember when the first Beatles album came out, she bought it,
Right.
played it for us. So she wanted us to have a contemporary edge to music we listened to. And then, of course, the 70s. So everyone listened to a lot of stuff.
Right. Well, I mean, the Beatles just seem... The one thing about the Beatles I always found was that everybody loved it. Grannies loved them. My mum and dad, tolerated them really well. Everybody in the street. It was a kind of the one universal band that seemed to just, affect everybody. You yourself, listening to music growing up, were you into the likes of rock and roll and the Stones and the Beatles and?
Well, I had 2 older brothers and an older sister, so I followed music a couple years older than I was listening to.
Right.
So we were into a lot of stuff. Like I was really big on the Allman Brothers when they first got big. Stones, Beatles.
I know you've got a wee Rolling Stones story you'll tell us later. When does the move to Canada come? Like, how does it all fit in that you eventually end up, because I'm going to ask you later on, do you feel Canadian or do you feel American? Or a bit of both?
I'm a dual. I got my dual in 92.
I'm talking about in here.
I feel both.
You do?
I feel very privileged to work and live in Canada. I'm very proud to be an American as well.
Right.
I think it's very possible to have strong patriotic feelings for more than one place.
Right. Did you get into the hockey scene from the executive side of it? What happens in America prior to you coming up to Canada? How involved did you get down there?
Well, when I first got out of law school in 1981, my first 2 clients were guys I played with in the American League. So I played 1 year in the American League, Maine Mariners. We won a Calder Cup, won a championship, but I played a very minor role in that.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a choice at that point. I'd been accepted to Harvard Law School, and I'd played a year. I deferred for a year. I had a choice at that point. Either keep playing, because I had another year left on my contract, or go back. And then if I did that, I gave up my spot at Harvard. But if you give up your spot at Harvard, you have to reapply.
Right.
I was certainly not the first kid that got accepted that year. I was probably the last kid that got accepted that year. So I took my chance and went back to law school. I hated giving up hockey. I had worked so hard to get that close, but I was miles away. You can be in the top 3% hockey players in the world and not be anywhere near the NHL.
Wow.
I couldn't skate. I couldn't skate well enough.
That's an incredible stat.
Yeah.
3%, 3 or 4%.
You can go watch the Marlies play, watch the American League game. You'll find there's plenty of kids who are big enough, plenty of kids who are tough enough, plenty of kids who are smart enough. The one common denominator is they can't skate well enough.
What about we've all known like the brawlers and stuff like that. Like, were you a fighter on the ice? Is that what you were known for? Like just being tough, or?
No, I played hard. I fought when I should. I didn't fight a lot. I didn't see the point of of starting a fight just to fight.
Right.
Like I had to be involved in the action and run someone over, and then they come back at you. That's how the fight. That's how I like fights to start, where something triggers it. Now where you say, "Let's go fight." Although I did that once. I'm in a summer league. Remember in the summer league, someone said, "I'm really bored," and I said, "Let's fight. Let's get a fight going." So we did that. I forget who it was, but
Somebody told me, I read. I don't know whether I read it or somebody told me you and Kevin Lowe were going to fight one time in a barn. Is there any truth to that? You and Big Kevin?
yeah.
What was that over?
He did an interview after a couple glasses of wine, and he challenged me to a fight. He said, "I'm so sick of Brian Burke yapping. Anytime Brian Burke," he said, "anytime, anywhere." So I called Glenn Sather. I said, "That's not how you challenge somebody to a fight. I'm going to show you how you challenge somebody to a fight. I'm going to be at the Holiday Inn in Lake Placid, July 31st, August 1st and 2nd." I said, "I think there's 31 days in July. I hope there is. The last 3 days, or first 3 days in August." And I said, "I'll meet you at the Holiday Inn in Lake Placid. I'll rent a barn. I'll kick the shit out of you. And I'll drive you to the hospital." So Bettman got wind of it, and he told us we couldn't fight.
Oh, that's brilliant. So, right. So, connect me to Canada. You're an American. You've gone to Harvard. You finished your law school. When does your arse start coming up here? And I mean, I've only known you since the Toronto Maple Leaf days. So, give me the lead up to that.
Well, I represented players. I represented a lot of players. I had a very successful practice in Boston. Represented Brett Hull, represented Kevin Dineen, represented Joel Otto, like some really good players. And then Pat Quinn, the late great Pat Quinn, asked me to come there in '87 as the assistant GM. That was my first job in hockey with the team, June of '87. I went to work for Pat. Stayed there 5 years, and then got my first GM job in Hartford in '92.
I remember vividly, I'm going to ask you a wee question here. I remember I was chatting with you. You were working with the Leafs. You made a journey. You headed to the airport, and then you got a call. You had to come back to MLS, and you thought you were coming for a reason over one of the players, and in actual fact, you ended up being
Getting fired.
The idea of being an executive, and it's like anything else, you can't fire the players. Is it just that, did you just roll with it? Like, did you really just roll with it? It's just a part of the job and you go, fuck it, that's it, I've been fired? Or did it really get under your... I felt you were let down. You know that, because the team was turning a corner. We're doing well, and you'd been used for... was during the strike, I believe, right?
Well, I was surprised by it. I was really caught off guard because no one had talked about me being let go.
Right.
There was a lot of talk of Brian Colangelo getting fired. So I'm driving to the airport. I got a call. You got to come back to the office. I'm going to the airport. I'm supposed to ratify the collective bargaining agreement.
Right.
I'd been on the negotiating team.
I know that.
And so I was driving back. It took about a half hour. I was out by kind of Avenue and pretty far north. So I had to drive all the way back in. So I had a half hour to think, what could possibly be going wrong here? And I concluded they were going to fire Brian Colangelo. He was under a lot of heat. So when I walked in, it was Richard Petty, Dale Lastman, and Tom Anselmi.
Yeah, Anselmi was a...
And they were all looking for loose change on the floor, like no one to make eye contact. I mean, I was like, oh, shit,
Right.
me. So I said to Larry, I said, I'm not ready for this meeting. I'm not prepared for this meeting. Give me a second. Went down to my old office and grabbed a bottle of water, trying to collect my thoughts. Like, if you think you're getting fired, you've got a speech prepared.
Right.
You've got some questions to answer, to ask. You're prepared a little bit for it. I wasn't prepared. So I went down and had a drink of water and then came back in. They said, we're letting you go. And I was like, and I have no problem with being fired. I mean, I didn't get the job done. Like, you're being kind, saying we were on the right track. Well, I had 5 years there. I didn't get the job done.
Right.
I have no problem with being fired. I just said I hadn't expected it.
So, did it affect you personally?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to go and wait to get my kids out of school and tell them. So I'm waiting in my room, or waiting in my house with my coat on and my keys in my pocket, waiting because I don't want the girls to hear on the radio. I didn't want the older kids. The older kids I didn't worry so much about, but the young kids, I didn't want them to hear about it on the radio. So as soon as it started to leak, I ran up to the school, took the kids out of school and told them.
Right.
No fun. Not much fun getting fired anywhere, but it's so public. When you work for a team, any team, it's very public. You get fired. It's on the ticker at TSN, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's on at Sportsnet. Brian Burke fired.
Right.
When you GM of the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's like on steroids. Everyone's talking about you getting fired. Will you ever work again? So, yeah, it's quite humbling and quite embarrassing.
From the time you left the Leafs before you get to Pittsburgh, I always forget when we went to Afghanistan together. I think I've done it so many times. I can't remember if you were you with the Leafs when we went to Afghanistan together?
First time was right after my son died.
Right. So
With the Leafs.
So you lost your son, and we go over to Afghanistan. I didn't really know you that well, and you didn't know me. And we flew over in a plane. I'm going to set up this wee story. The lads will love this. We're on a plane, and you had told Jen at the time that you wouldn't go outside the wire, I believe, right? You correct me if I'm wrong. And I had spent the whole day outside the wire. Plane comes back about 3:00 in the morning, and I run into you. And I said, Burke, there's an interview I'm going to do with Bob McCown. Would you come? And your son had recently passed, and you spoke to McCown, and we're walking back to the barracks, and Sam and I head into our room, and you're down the hallway. And I say, Burke. You go, yeah. I said, would you like a drink? And you said, I beg your pardon? I said, because for the guys out there in the camera land, once you get to the camp, it's completely dry, no booze. We're not allowed any booze. I'd done a few shows over there, so I'd learned a few tricks. I said, Burke, yeah, do you want a drink? And you turned around and you said to me, don't you fuck with me. And I said, I'm not fucking with you. Do you want a drink? And you came up, and we sat like teenagers in the dark in case our dads were going to catch. Did you remember that?
Yeah, I remember. I'll never forget the drink you made me. It was vodka. And then we got the only soda we could get out of the vending machine, which was banana soda. Yeah. It was disgusting.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
It was the best drink I ever had in my life. After three dry days, I finally get a drink, even though it was disgusting. It was wonderful. Never forget it.
You'd gone through a terrible loss. Can you talk a wee bit about it?
Yeah.
So you lost your son in a car accident just prior to that, right?
Yeah, so I promised my ex-wife, or we're still married technically, but I promised her I wouldn't go outside the wire.
Right.
So when you go to Kandahar is a massive military base there's Canadians, there's Americans, there's all the coalition troops. There's like 17 countries that were represented there. But mainly there's 50,000 pissed off Americans. So you're safe when you're on the base. It would be a suicide mission to attack Kandahar.
Right.
But you go outside the wire to do the visits, which I did the next trip when I went to...
so you have been out the wire?
I went outside the wire. Went outside the wire with Kabul too, and when I went to Kabul. So, right. But the first trip, I promised I would stay home. I stayed inside the wire.
Talk a wee bit about, because I saw you in action, and you know how near and dear it is to my heart. Talk a wee bit about those trips, like what it means to them for us to go over and interact with them, entertain them, chat with them.
You're in a combat zone, and there's real risk. You have to sign a waiver that if you get killed over there, the Canadian government will pay you $150,000 to your family. I'm like, that's not a lot of money. Right. But there's real risk, but it's pretty safe. They're pretty worried about your safety, but it's you have to wear a vest, and you have to wear a helmet for lots of it. If you go outside the wire, you got to wear a vest and a helmet at all times. It's humbling. We think we have important jobs until you get outside the wire. You're on a Chinook helicopter doing 300 miles an hour, flying tactically. So it's right down on the dirt, and it goes up 400 feet, swerve left, swerve right. Like, I almost got sick. And these guys are doing this so they can't take us down with a missile. 2 Griffin gunships right behind it. So it's very humbling. You think, I'm really important. I'm an important guy. Brian Burke, GM of the Toronto Maple Leafs, I'm really important. And you realize in the scheme of things, we're not that important. These soldiers have way bigger jobs than we do.
I find them some of the most selfless people in the world. Like,
Well, it's 52 degrees. The last time I was there, we played hockey. It's 52 degrees. These guys are carrying 80 pounds on a pack plus all their ammo on a gun all day. Good luck. I couldn't do it.
I remember, they always encouraged us to, we go over as a group, as you know, we're all in our plane together and you're allowed to drink on the plane. But then they encourage us to sort of separate. Why would you and I sit together having lunch when you can be over there and I can be over here interacting with,
Yeah, it's cool. And they always have one table for, they have a sniper table. They can sit wherever they want. They also have a table that's set for the guys that didn't make it back.
Yeah.
So there's always an empty table for the guys that didn't make it back. That's very humbling and touching.
Were you on the trip with us when there was a repatriation? Yep. Yeah.
A young Irish kid from California.
Yeah.
18 years old.
Yeah. I remember I think it was General Vance by that time, I think had taken over from the Tin Chuck. And, I wasn't sure if they still wanted us to perform and, like singing songs. He said, more than ever, we need you up there,
Well, they went over, they made us all assemble outside the hangar where the plane was. And I think it was the C-5. It was a big plane. They brought the coffin on, marched with the military honors, but we all had to stand at attention. And those American soldiers would go by and just bark at you. Stand up straight. God damn it, it's a funeral. And I had to stand at attention for 40 minutes while they marched this poor soldier down the he was a Marine actually,
yeah.
American Marine. They marched him through the across the tarmac. Took about a half hour. I stood at attention. I was terrified I'd screw up somehow, do something wrong.
Right.
It was very, very humbling. It just makes you think. We don't know what sacrifice is. We don't know what loss is until you see soldiers in action.
I always mention the troops when Glass Tiger's performing. And I know that some people think you're talking about, the war machine and promoting it. And of course, we're not. I always find that when I went over there, and I got to interact with a lot of the Afghanis, and there was one young lad in particular. He was an informant for us, and we picked him up, and he was in the back of the car that we were in. And once he got comfortable enough he could speak English, these kids just want the same things as our kids want. He wants to listen to Led Zeppelin. He wants to meet a girl and hold her hand and dance with her. He wants to have a pint of Guinness. But these are all death sentences for these people over there. And a lot of our troops were over there. I know the Canadian troops were over there just trying to help liberate some of these people from the atrocities that were going on around them.
Yeah, it was all well-intentioned. You can argue that we shouldn't have gone there. We went there with good intentions, and the Canadian boys and women that fought there did so bravely. They deserve our praise.
With us being over there the way we have and the way that it ended and they bailed out, do you feel it was a massive letdown the way that Biden brought them out?
Well, I've been involved. I got to witness 2 wars in my lifetime, both wars that the U.S. was unable to win. I think sometimes you pick a fight, you better have some tangible, realistic chance of winning. And I don't think we ever did. The Russians couldn't do it. We couldn't do it.
Give me your opinion though on how it was bailed out at the end. They just seem to ban. It was almost like, okay, let's leave after all we had witnessed and all we knew a little bit about what was going on over there. I just felt it was. I couldn't believe it that they would just walk away like that, the way they did. I thought it was a massive letdown.
I thought that the the local troops weren't willing to continue the fight.
Right.
And we armed the Canadian. When I was in Kabul, the Americans and Canadians armed and equipped and trained an army to be able to withstand the Taliban, and they weren't able to for even days.
Right.
So it was a bit of a letdown for sure. But I think our getting out when we did was smart.
Okay. You got a bit of a reputation, Mr. Burke, as being a hard ass, right? Everybody. I said, I'm going to chat with Brian. Are you scared? I said, no, I'm not scared, right? Does your reputation precede you? Or do you know the reputation you've got, right?
Yeah, God damn it. No, I think people who know me know there's a different side,
Right.
but I don't want people to see that, and I don't care if they do. I'm not one of those people who craves to be understood or liked.
Right.
I just want to do my job. I just want to win. And I just want to do whatever I'm doing as best I can and do it with integrity. So I don't really care. Like they used to say, lead, follower, get out of the way. My attitude always was just get out of the way. I don't care if you follow me.
Right.
You're certainly not going to, I'm not going to listen to you. So just get out of the way.
I'll tell you a fun wee moment. It's about 50 degrees and we're all on the bus and you're still out there interacting with the troops. And I had been asked to sing the Canadian and the American national anthem. You know where I'm going with this? And this young lad comes to me and he says, Alan, can I do the American? And I said, yeah, I forget. Luke McMaster, I think his name is. And I said, yeah, okay. So I do the Canadian. He does the American and he stumbles a little bit.
Twice.
He stumbles. And we're all in the bus. We're waiting for you. And you come on the bus and you go, who was that singing the American national anthem? And he's looking for your praise and he goes, it was me, Brian, it was me. And you go, learn the fucking words.
I told him there's sheet music to that song, son.
Right.
We'll just play the sheet music. But it was funny. I remember we were playing ball hockey and one of those soldiers elbowed me right in the jaw. It was 50 degrees. I'm not supposed to be playing. I'm supposed to be coaching, but I'm playing. Tiger's playing. Dennis Marook's playing. And the guy elbows me right in the jaw. So I went over. I thought the guy hit me. I went and ran him into the boards. You know, we're playing on street hockey, right? I crucify this guy. I go back to the bench, and I think it was Luke Shem was on that trip. And Luke says, why did you do that? I said, that guy elbowed me. He goes, no, you got the wrong guy. So I had to go over to the bench and apologize. I said to the whole bench, I said, look, I'm really sorry. But if I can figure out which one of you did this, I will get you. I promise.
Right. So the loss of your son, correct me if I'm wrong, kind of led you by osmosis into the support that you now have for the LGBTQ community. Can you talk a wee bit about that?
Well, I'm embarrassed to say that was the catalyst, was Brendan's death. And I should have been a disciple and an ally long before that. I just wasn't part of my upbringing, wasn't part of my life.
I was the same.
I was ignorant, and I'm very embarrassed about that. People say, oh, it's wonderful everything you've done for Brendan in his name. You can play and all the different charity stuff. But I'm embarrassed that I wasn't involved sooner. And I apologize to that. I told all my kids that. When Brendan came out, I said, Brendan, I'm your biggest ally now, but I'm sorry I wasn't there for you before. We didn't know.
So he came to you at some point and came out
yeah.
and told you.
Yeah.
And how long, what's between the time he tells you and the time he passes? So you felt compelled to...
Not even 8 months. So it was when he came out, he told my son Patrick before, they were lifting a couch together. And Brendan said to Patrick, it was just a non-event in our house. We never allowed homophobic humor or jokes or comments, no faggot or any of that stuff in our house. And no racial humor either. So it was when Brendan said to Patrick, I'm gay. Patrick said, fine, pick up the couch. Like, let's go, move on.
Right.
It was a non-event in our house.
Right.
I told Brendan, I said, you've given us a million reasons to love you. This won't change any of them.
So can you tell me a wee bit about the work that you've done with the LGBTQ community now? Like what's...
Well, I think mainly just been an ally every chance I get to march, or march in the Pride Parade. We founded You Can Play, which is the charity founded by Patrick, my son, in Brendan's honor, to say, to break down barriers for kids that want to play sports. If you can play, you can play. If you're good enough to play on this team, doesn't matter who you go home with, doesn't matter what church you go to. If you can play, you can play. So that and every other area where I can support, I do and will continue that.
Do you think now that, there's been such a massive shift for people like yourself and communities that are now way more accepting of the LGBTQ community and the way that the professional sports have, taken pride seriously, is it still prevalent where someone may have it hidden in the locker room that they're gay and still reluctant to come out and tell their teammates at the highest levels?
Well, first off, we've made tremendous progress, and we can never lose sight of that. I used to tell Brendan before he died, I said, Brendan, it was much better. Your coming out, being a gay boy at this age, this time, is much different than when I was in high school. My high school, there were 3,000 kids in my class, 3-year high school. So in Minnesota, you go to high school for 3 years, 10, 11, 12, that's it. Most high schools are 4 years. There's 3,000 kids in my school, not one gay kid. Right. Of course there were gay kids, but they didn't dare come out back then.
Of course.
So I said to Brendan, we made a lot of progress, but it's still a dangerous thing. I had to tell Brendan when he came out, you better keep your head on a swivel for a while.
Right. Don't
go out anywhere alone. Because it's very public, Brendan coming out. There's TSN, Big Head Story, Sportsnet, So I said, you be careful for a few weeks here. Keep crowds around you and be careful. So it's a little sick when you have to give your kid that speech.
Of course.
But to me, we made great progress. I don't like taking kind of a hard right turn here the last year, especially in the States. So it's going back the other way, but we're still way ahead of where we were, and we'll just keep banging away.
So then, segue to, you get approached by the Pittsburgh Penguins. Were you gun shy, or was there, because you just come out of the whole Leaf thing, but...
I had worked for Calgary after that, and I've been working for Sportsnet. I loved working for Sportsnet. Great outfit, great employer. Oh, yeah, I like TV. I think I was good at it too, but I enjoyed it very much. So I was set at Sportsnet. I had a good deal. I liked my boss. I liked the people I worked with. Then David Morehouse, who was the president of the Penguins, called me and said, would you help us hire a GM? So I was going through the list of people saying, Ron Hextall is good at this guy's good at that, this guy's not good at that. And David Morehouse was talking to Mario, and Mario said, where are you getting all this information on these candidates? And Morehouse said, well, it's Burke. And he said, Burke, why aren't we talking to him? Next thing you know, they offered me a job. So I leaped at it. Like I was born to do this. I leapt at the chance, and I would go back again tomorrow.
I was going to say that. Would you do it again?
Yeah. The only thing it did was messed up my career at Sportsnet. I haven't been able to get back on the air with them,
right? Which
would have been nice. But you're raised to do this. You're born to do this, and I think I have a unique talent at it. And I love winning.
In my world, people say to me, what does a kid have to do now to get a record deal and make it in music? And I wouldn't even know where to begin to answer them, because I don't even know what a record deal is anymore, because the changes in my industry have just been, unbelievable. Is there big changes in how hockey's run these days, and how the game's played, and what it's all about versus 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago?
Yeah, a lot has changed. You want to avoid sounding like a dinosaur, because I believe in change. I believe in adapting through the years since I've been involved in the game. First started playing pro in 1980. 1977, 78. So in that time, I've watched all those players come and go. I've drafted players that retired with Hall of Fame careers that I drafted. So just that little 20-year period is just one little small part of my life. And I think there's a real risk of saying that millennials are pain in the ass. They're not tough. They don't listen. And I think they do listen. I think they ask too many questions sometimes, but they ask a lot more questions than we did, which is probably smart.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had a real cavalier attitude about injuries. Remember, I got knocked cold one night on a Tuesday, played Thursday. Summer hockey wasn't even important. It was important to me, but it wasn't like a college game or a pro game. It was summer hockey. I got knocked cold on Tuesday, played on Thursday. You never let that happen now. So players ask a lot of questions. They're not as tough as we were, but they're smarter. They're still way tougher than most other athletes. Our athletes still don't get Novocaine for stitches. They just get stitched up. It takes too long to get shot up.
Right.
So just throw the stitches in and get back out there. We still do it that way. But our players are still tougher than any other athletes in any other sport. I love the modern NHL player.
You do?
They're superb. They're much better than we were. Their skill sets are much higher.
The highlight for you, is it Anaheim with the cup?
Cup.
Is that
Yeah.
the ultimate?
That's climbing Mount Everest. There's no, in our line of work, there's only one yardstick that matters, and that's winning a championship. And I'll never forget that. I'll be grateful for that for the rest of my life.
Yeah. That's Everest right there.
Yeah, well, I wanted another one. I'm disappointed I didn't get two, but
Right.
I'm really glad I got one.
You came, when I had my stroke, you came to the hospital.
Yeah.
I remember I was just in my bed. I opened my eyes and you were just sitting by the bedside. Never forget it. And it meant a lot to me. And you made, I can't remember exactly, but we talked a wee bit about the Toronto Maple Leafs. And at that time, you said you thought we were about 5 years away. Well, my stroke was 15 years ago, believe it or not. That's 15 years. I beg your pardon, no. 2015, was it 10 years ago? Talk a wee bit about the Toronto hockey scene. Are we ever going to see one before
Well, I think
I've been here since 1972 waiting on that one.
Well, someone's going to solve the problem. I didn't. And I think the team's a lot better than it was, but they haven't had any playoff success, or they won one round. They're going to have to figure that out. They're going to have to figure out playoff success is different than regular season success. But I like the job that Brad Treliving has done. I like the changes. I think they're bigger and tougher. Austin Matthews is special. Mitch Marner's special. William Nylander is special. John Tavares is special. Not many teams have four special players like that. Morgan Riley is right there too in my mind. So I like what they've done, but no one's going to take them seriously till they win games in April and May.
Right.
Just that simple. And I think people have to realize no team has won, a Canadian team has won a title since 93. There's a reason for that.
Tell me about
well, if you go mathematically, we got 7 NHL teams out of 32.
Right.
So we should win a cup every, 8 years, roughly? We haven't won one since 93, and it's mainly because of the tax differential. Taxes are much higher in the States, in Canada, than they are in the States. And then you're compounded by a few of the states have no state income tax, like Florida and Texas, Nevada. So they've got a real economic advantage over the Canadian teams. But someone will figure it out. Even with that, someone will figure it out. Maybe Toronto, I hope.
I'd love to see it. Here's a question I'm sure in all your hockey years you've never been asked. What does music really, really, really mean to you as a human being? And what does music mean to you in your life? Is it just it's a wee distraction, Alan, or does it touch you, in the heart and soul? And
It fixes
live without
things.
it?
It fixes. No, I couldn't live without it. It fixes things in my memory. Like I remember "Green Eyed Lady" by Sugarloaf. It was the song that played during two-a-days. We had our two-a-days in August. Two practices a day.
Right.
Driving to practice, my mom would have to drive us. So we didn't have a car. We had one car for the whole family. So my mom would drive us to practice, me and my brother. But I remember we'd hear that song all the way to practice, all the way back. And now, 40 years later now, I think Sugarloaf 2-a-days.
Right.
So to me, music is important. I love music. I love live music. I go to concerts whenever I can. So I had the fortune of watching you a couple of times.
Yeah. Or the misfortune, however you want to look at it.
Now the fortune. And no, to me, it fixes periods of your life. You associate things in your life with a song at that time. To me, I go back, and that's see what you said. What about Stairway to Heaven? I remember that.
Right.
I got in a fight with the guy I worked with that day because he wanted to turn it off, and I wouldn't let him. We got in a fist fight.
It's funny you should say that because, even for us, like when I think about, Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone, well, I can see where I was when I wrote it, right? So I've still got memories of exactly where I was, who I was working with to write it, what the day was like. And universally, that seems to be what most people connect to, that music can take you to a place and a point in your life.
It fixes a memory. It fixes something important in your life with a song and with a memory of a song. So to me, I Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone. I remember you played it in Afghanistan right after Brendan died. I've hated that song ever since.
Oh.
I don't like to listen to it ever since.
Wow.
That when I was at the funeral, they played that song Hallelujah.
Mm-hmm.
A beautiful young girl, a friend of our family, sang the song at the funeral.
Right.
And Molly, my daughter, said to me, "Dad, I can't listen to this. I can't listen to that song."
So
I get up and
because
leave
you've attached it to the loss of.
Yeah. So I get up and leave when they play that song.
Wow. On a brighter note, there's a rumor that you've got a Rolling Stones story. Oh, are you coming up? You've got a story about the Stones. Tell
It was
me.
1975, I think. I'm pretty sure. But I was playing summer hockey, and Bill Sims called me. He used to run the Sims Company. It was the biggest insurance or security company in the Twin Cities. He called and he said, "We got a detail. They want to hire the University of Minnesota football team to work security for the Rolling Stones concert." Wow. So they hired 40 of us. They told us we had to wear jeans and a tight shirt. So I had my white T-shirt on. I was about, I don't know, maybe 195 then, ripped, like in shape. I was the smallest guy there.
Holy shit.
The guy beside me was 245. The guy next to him was 265. So the guy had us line up opposite the stage. He said, "You, stage door." Maybe work the stage door. I was 205 or 195. I was ripped. Wow. I looked big. I thought, well, I can win a fight with about anyone I know, right, except these guys. So I had to work the stage door. So I got to talk to them all.
You did?
Yeah, I got to talk to Charlie Watts for about a half hour.
Wow.
Mick Jagger said hi. It was very charming. Keith Richards, all of them.
Brilliant.
So it was cool. Yeah.
Who are some of the people you maybe rubbed shoulders with through the years that, big time celebs or people that you never thought you'd get the chance to meet when you were a younger guy and like that? For example, when you were just a boy in Providence, you probably never dreamt in your wildest dreams that you'd meet the Rolling Stones. Have you met any really cool, interesting characters through the years that...
Well, I've gotten to be good friends with Michael Bublé, and of course, he's a marvelous musician.
Brilliant.
And a huge hockey fan.
Brilliant.
Huge hockey fan. I've known him for probably 10, 12 years now. That's been a great partnership. I've seen him perform a number of times.
Yeah, he's a great lad.
He was playing at the Hollywood Bowl, and he stopped the show and said, "I want you to introduce my friend Brian Burke, and best GM in the league." I was looking at LA Kings fans everywhere like, I don't need this. But anyway, and Bruce Allen, his agent, who's a wonderful guy. I got to know him.
He and I texted recently about something that I can't divulge right now, but I've known Bruce through Bryan Adams. I
met Bryan Adams through Bruce. Yeah.
What about the lads in the Hip? Did you ever go see the Hip?
No, I never did. Tried to a couple times. It's all about our schedules, as you know. Not about when the band's available. It's when we're available.
Right.
So I go whenever I can. But no, I never got to see them. I missed that. Nickelback, I've gotten to know those guys a little bit. They did the Junos in Calgary one year, and I made the mistake of doing shots with Chad Kroger after the show. I got helped out of the building that day. The last time I drank tequila, I can tell you that. I think I did 8 shots with these guys.
We don't need to get heavy with it, but give me Brian Burke's perspective on the sort of the world at large right now, all the shit that's going on and what we have to face and the ups and downs of the political scene, et cetera, but just the world at large. Give me a wee perspective, a personal perspective on where you think we're at as a species and what we're facing. And
I have voted in every presidential election in the United States since I was eligible. So back to 1972 or whatever the first election was after I turned 18. I have absentee ballot voted. I've voted in person when I was able to in California. In Vancouver, I voted by absentee ballot. Did the same in Pittsburgh, where I voted back in Pittsburgh this last election. So I think if you don't vote, you can't complain.
Agreed.
I really believe that. And so number one is I voted in every election. I've made my voice heard, even though it's millions of us. I don't like what's happened in the U.S. the last little bit. And based on the things that are important to me, the yardsticks I use, like kindness and tolerance and treating the LGBTQ plus community with respect, I see a real step backwards. I don't like it one bit.
Right.
I see it particularly in the U.S., but I see it here too.
Yeah.
See it here in Canada too. I don't like it.
What can be done about it?
Well, you have to vote. You have to spend money. You have to support the right causes. Like, I'm big on this. When I ran the Leafs, I asked an audience of 400 people at a charity dinner, how many people here support women's hockey? Everyone raised their hand. I said, how many people have tickets to the Furies game on tomorrow night? Not one.
Right.
I said, you're phonies. You want to raise your hand, but you don't really support the women unless you buy tickets or support them some other way. Same thing with LGBTQ stuff. People say, do you support the LGBTQ plus community? Everyone raised their hand. How many of you have marched in a parade? How many of you have written a check? If you haven't done that, you're no good to me.
Right.
You're not helping the cause. So what can be done about it? Plenty. Get involved. Get involved.
I've been quoted many times as saying that hope is sort of overrated. Like it for people to say, "Oh, I hope those LGBTQ people are okay." Oh, I hope those people that were hit in Haiti with the hurricane, I hope they're okay. But if nobody actually steps up to the plate, then nothing gets achieved, nothing gets done.
Yeah, they're phonies. They just want to look and say the right things. They want to be on the right side of the polls. They say, "Oh, I support LGBTQ plus rights," but unless you're in the fight, you're not really any good to me.
I mean, and now we can only do so much. You know, for example, LGBTQ is a big thing in your life. In mine, it was like I support. You know, if you gave me a call and said, "Alan, would you come to blah 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 and support?" Of course I would. But you know, we all have our causes. I've been a big supporter of people who are facing sexual abuse. I've done a lot of charity work for children's charities, Child Find and stuff like that. You can only do so much. But I try to teach, you and I have got a daughter, we've got daughters the same age, and I try to teach mine, if you can only be one thing, be kind. Like offer yourself in you know, with respect for everybody, even though you can't possibly help everybody. I'd say, if you can only be one thing, be kind. You know, we carry this flag of, I get so disappointed in what people are willing to do to each other. It breaks my heart. Like some of the things I witness. And so I try and just hammer into her, like, if you can only be one thing, like, be kind.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I also think you have to pick and choose your fights and what your causes are. You can't be everything to everybody.
Exactly. You can't do it all.
So we do 5 things. My girlfriend and I do 5 things. We do LGBTQ plus stuff. We do military and first responders.
Right.
We do Special Olympics. We do women's hockey. And we do Ducks Unlimited. We do conservation support. And those are the only 5 things that I'll lend my voice to. I'll vote for other things. I'll write a check once in a while. But my support, you see me on TV, I'm talking about one of those 5 things.
Right. Now, you mentioned women's hockey, and now this is the next phase of your life, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a wee bit about what's going on.
Well, I never took women's hockey seriously. I feel like an idiot because I got to the fight so late with my son and so late with women's hockey. I didn't realize how good these women were and how important the sport was until I went to Nagano in '98 and watched the women play up in person. And I became an instant fan. So I've been a season ticket holder in Toronto, season ticket holder in Calgary when they had a team there when I worked there. I know all the top players, and so when they offered me a chance to be executive director of the Players Association, I jumped at it. I started crying. I was so touched by it. And I told him, I said, I'll do it for 2 years. So this is year 2. Then a woman has to take over. It should be run by, the Players Association should be run by a woman, not by me.
Right.
So I'll be done at the end of the year. I'm not sure what I'm doing yet, but I'll be calling you for a job, Alan.
So I'm at Varsity Stadium, and the TFC are playing friendly against Real Madrid, and I come into the lounge, and you're sitting there, and you're not paying any attention to the game at all. And I said, Burke, don't you like soccer? Do you remember what you said to me?
Yeah. Rather watch 2 guys paint a barn.
To be honest, you said I'd rather watch 2 guys fishing.
I'm not a big soccer fan. I get why people like it.
Yeah.
I find the diving disgusting. I find you watch 80 minutes. Isn't that how long they play? 40-minute halves or 45-minute halves?
90 minutes, Burke. 90 minutes.
90 minutes, and you see maybe 4 shots on net. Sorry. I can be bored anytime. I don't have to pay money to do it.
Are you still hunting these days?
Oh, yeah. Just
Yeah?
got back.
You just got back, where were you?
Go on duck hunting near Cambridge, Ontario next week.
You still enjoy getting out and doing that?
Well, I got both my knees replaced, so I couldn't hunt for about 5 years. Couldn't walk.
Right.
But now my knees work, and I've been hunting ever since.
Right. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
You're quite a character, man.
Oh, thank you.
And I've seen that other side of you. I know the softer side of
Don't tell anyone.
I won't tell too many about that. But
There he is. There's only one Brian. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Brian Burke, brought to you by Life Frew Music. Thank you, pal. Thank you, Brian.